I wonder if you could just sort of start off by maybe characterizing the various positions, they're not all homogeneous, the positions of the Republican candidates. It's a wide range.
Yeah, I think that they're trying to underplay a little bit. Some of them are trying to underplay their opposition because they know that in the general election, 60% of Americans support same-sex marriage. But, of course, they're also trying to appeal to social conservative voters, so it's a wide range.
Greg, what did you make of Chief Justice Roberts siding with the minority here in this opinion?
It was a fascinating opinion, coming after yesterday's ruling in the Obamacare case.
Yeah.
The Chief Justice basically said, I think there are great reasons why same-sex couples should celebrate this ruling and want to get married, but the Constitution does not grant them that right, and this is not a decision that should have been taken away from the people.
Greg Stohr, I mean, what does this tell you about future rulings from the court?
Well, it tells you that this is a closely divided court and that Justice Anthony Kennedy is often going to be the swing justice. We're going to have other issues involving gay rights that are going to come up through the courts. We're going to have issues about whether people with religious objections have to take part in some way or another in same-sex marriage ceremonies. So this issue isn't over. But the big issue, the Supreme Court has said resoundingly by a single vote that same-sex couples do have a constitutional right to get married.
All right, so Ben, you wrote this piece about what the pros and cons are now, right, for gay couples to be married. So what are the big pros and what are the big cons here?
Well, yeah, you have these couples, maybe some of them have been together for decades, and now they have to decide, okay, are we going to actually do this?
Married, yeah, get hitched.
Yeah, there's hundreds of benefits. There's also some obligations that come with it. I'd say the overall point that people need to know is, like, marriage really matters at the end of your life. When something awful happens, when someone dies, there's healthcare decisions to be made.
Yeah.
Those are really the big benefits of
Right, but let's break it down though.
Yeah.
So a pro is you get retirement benefits, right?
Exactly.
Because now you're the spouse.
Military pension, Social Security. It's easier to share retirement accounts in Roth 401ks and IRAs.
But there's also a pro and a con when it comes to taxes, though, right?
Yeah, some people will end up paying more in taxes, some people will end up paying less. Generally, you're going to pay more if you both make about the same amount of money. So if you both make 6 digits and you get married, you really can see your tax bracket jump quite a bit.
Greg Stohr, I'm wondering if you can describe the feeling there in front of the Supreme Court. The people you've talked to, and tell us what the mood is like.
So I've covered the court for 17 years. I'm not sure I've seen a scene quite like this. It is like a party here that keeps growing bigger and bigger with people. I think you can probably see some of them behind me. Really a celebration of a movement that changed the country very, very, very quickly, very, very rapidly. There's a lot of joy with the people around me right now. Obviously, there's some people upset by the ruling, but the people here are very, very happy.
And Greg, I want to read for you, we had several Republican presidential candidates come out with statements right after this ruling. So I'll read for you one from Jeb Bush. He said, quote, guided by my faith, I believe in traditional marriage. I believe the Supreme Court should have allowed the states to make this decision. I also believe that we should love our neighbor and respect others, including those making lifetime commitments. So, when he says this should be left to the state, which has been, all along the argument of the Republicans, how are the states now going to take a ruling like this and apply it locally?
Well, there will probably be some resistance. There may be some county clerks who say, no, I'm not going to do it. We've seen before this ruling, Alabama Supreme Court told its probate judges don't obey the federal court ruling that said that same-sex marriage is legalized. So there will be some resistance. But as Ben pointed out, nationwide at least, a very strong majority approving of same-sex marriage, and that number has only been increasing and probably will only continue to increase after this ruling.
Greg Stohr, the court is not done. They don't go on vacation until next week. What other rulings do we expect?
No, we still got a few more big cases. We've got a case on lethal injection and a drug that is very controversial. We have a case involving EPA limits on mercury emissions. And we also have a very important political case involving whether states can set up independent redistricting commissions and take the process of setting district lines for Congress out of the hands of lawmakers. And we'll get I think all those on Monday, which will be the last day of the term.
All right, Ben, and again, before we go here on this, you know, if you're going to get married, you can also get divorced. So how does divorce play in here in the pro-con equation?
And not to be a downer, but divorce is a possibility whenever you get married. And, you know, the thing about divorce is it's a hassle. You could end up paying alimony. You can lose some of your possessions. But it's a fairer process than just walking away from an unmarried relationship. It's a process that is often fair to the weaker party in one of those disputes.
Well, right, because if you were unmarried before, it was a lot more difficult, right, to split an estate.
Totally.
I mean,
yes.
You actually had no power then.
Right.
Because
Especially
you were not
if you were stay-at-home dad or stay-at-home mom who wasn't bringing in the money, you could really be in a disadvantageous position. So, yeah, one of the benefits of gay marriage is gay divorce.
Right.
Maybe more prenuptial agreements, too.
Exactly.
There you go.